Here at the GrowthNet, we've been talking a lot about globalization, but how prepared and ready are we with a global workforce, a workforce that can adapt to operating in many different geographies and many different economies? Well, here's one person who knows firsthand. Yu Serizawa is President and CEO of Forma Corporation, Japan, and Director General for International Affairs, Science and Technology and Society Forum. Glad you could join us here today, but you know, the first point was really Forma Corporation works with executives to make them better global executives. How does that work?
Well, we identified two sets of qualities. Of course, one can complement the other, but the first set are really the ones that you own intrinsically when you're born. You're born with those qualities, and of course you can develop them more, but they are with you. The second sets of qualities that you need in this globalized world are more trainable. However, our approach were totally reversed from certain companies that offer training specifically to certain geographical areas. Like somebody would teach you, if you go to Thailand, don't touch anybody's head because it's very, it's considered not proper or impolite. We don't want people to learn that sort of things like geographically specific items, because then you need to have like a
large reservoir of information,
of knowledge, which is totally impossible to learn. So we want people to be reactive, people who are efficient in the business world particularly. And so that's why those two sets of qualities were identified first. And then we started to develop this test, which will be, I think, available in the market hopefully later this year, and which would really measure people on those two sets of qualities. And hopefully, after taking training from Forma, then the trainable qualities would have developed even further.
Okay. And does, for instance, this test, would it just apply to executives in Japan, or could you start taking that test here in India if it's successful?
However, our business model will be to contract with companies, global companies around the world, and they would identify who in their organizations should take the test.
Right.
And then we would have three kinds of options for the company. The test results are only given to the employer. Or second option is fully given to the employer, partially to the person who takes the test. And third is the same results are shared with both. Interesting.
But, taking a step back from Forma Corporation, just trying to understand in the conversations here around GrowthNet, Japan has so much to share in terms of learnings, but what's the one message that you've sent out in your conversations here? These countries we're talking about in the GrowthNet are emerging countries. They are dazzled by their high rates of growth. They're being courted by foreign investors, increasingly so. In that heady rush, what should they keep in mind?
Yes, well, GrowthNet is about the constellation of what was it? The constellation
a new constellation of growth.
Of growth, right. And I was saying I came from the old constellation of stagnation. But why is that? That's because my main message was that Japan, for instance, failed to have a second national agenda. Once the first one, which was catching up and growing, was achieved, we failed to prepare for the next step. And so I think that the young people especially from the new constellation of growth should think about the post-growth area. What do you want to be? What country do you want to be?
Important lesson there. Great talking to you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.